Hey y'all, what's going on? I know I'm late, but I'm gonna get through this for y'all because I love talking about this hot mess train wreck show. Love After Lockup, season 3, episode 6, and I am looking at my notes because y'all know what? I don't have a good memory. So the show starts with Sean and Destiny, and they're getting on a plane from California to go to Vegas. And apparently, Destiny has never been on a plane before, so she's asking him all kinds of questions like, why are we on a train to get to a plane? And he's like, because you see out there, it's like, what is it called? To get to the gate. It's not just when you first check in. So, she's excited, she's scared, whatever. They get to the house and she's, oh my gosh, this house is so big. And Sean discloses that he got a new home because of a job promotion. So he moved from wherever he lived before to Vegas, and he bought her more clothes in the room, and she's so happy and she's excited, and he's trying to keep her in the house for 2 weeks, basically, so she doesn't get into any trouble. And he said, let's just lay low and let's just relax for a couple more weeks to your court date, which means I ain't trying to have you go back to jail or skip out on me and I lose 50 grand. But he ain't gonna say that in that many words. So then he's like, let's just stay in. I'm gonna cook, and my friends are coming by. She's like, no, fuck that. No, 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 no. And she's really like not having it. And she goes, cook for your friends, but I want to go out. So he's like, well, come on, let's just calm down. He's still with this. He's repeating himself over and over. He has to understand the age difference. She's been locked up for a while. She wants to get out and enjoy life, but she has never been to Vegas. And for people who like fun and activities, Vegas is a good spot. So she's like, I don't want to meet your friends. Like, you messing me up. Stop trying to tell me what to do. I told you, I do what I want to do. Like, kind of this rebel attitude. And he's just like, I'm a quiet guy. I kind of just, but his friends come over, is Hector and Veronica. And Hector is the guy that works with him at the shop. And he's still cutting up onions and stuff. And she's just like, yeah, I'm drinking a beer. So when Hector and Veronica come, she's like, oh, you want to get a beer? So she gives him a beer. And she has the can opener / bottle opener. And she's like, I don't know how to do this. And I'm just like, what? But I've come to realize everybody doesn't know everything, even if it's basic to me. I don't drink beer, but I kind of figured out how to use a bottle opener, but whatever. So Hector, like, let me show you something. Like, basically, you don't need a bottle opener for a Corona. So he takes his hand, he twists it open. She's like, oh. And he said, yeah, this ring helps me, I guess, grip it. So then she turns to Sean, I want a ring. What? You want a ring because it helps you open beer? Or you want a ring because you want to marry him? I'm confused. But whatever. Then they telling her about Vegas, and they're saying, like, Vegas is a place where you can break it or you can make it. It's a lot of opportunities. And then they disclose, oh, you can drink all day from Sunday to Monday. And she's like, what? What? I can drink all day? I'm getting hella drunk. First of all, who says hella anymore? But we're going to move on from that because people say, who says that? Like, Veronica's like, hella. But whatever. And then they go out to a bar and, like, casino kind of place. And she's like, I don't want to eat anything. I just want to drink because I want to get drunk. I want to get hella drunk. And she goes, I want to get drunk. I'll eat dick later. I'm like, that's too much information. And nobody on camera or his friends wanted to know what you're getting ready to do with him. That's neither here nor there. So she goes to the bartender. I want a strong drink. And she's playing a little slot machine as Sean is like feeding her money as they're talking. And he's constantly putting $5 bills, $1 bills. And she keeps playing. So his friend Hector's like, I want to ask you questions because this is my good friend. And I just want to be sure because, I don't know much about you. And he said, I don't want to come off as rude. He was very nice. Hector was very nice because some people like me will come off really nasty. Like, what you trying to do? What's your plans with my friend? What are you really trying? Like, I would be really grilling him. But he was nice about it and he was easing it in and making it as a joke. So that kind of eased the tension and she didn't get all crazy. So she was like, I wanted to make sure, Hector said, I wanted to make sure you weren't a catfish. And she goes, well, he told me he was 36. And they was like, what? So he catfished her, basically. And then Hector's like, well, when's the last time? Oh, are you into girls? And she was like, no, I don't get down like that. And then the confessional turns to where she's saying, oh, the last time I had sex was 2 weeks ago. And I'm a trisexual. Basically, I have sex with men, women, and then I guess the couples on thing. And all right, girl, like nobody cared. And he's like, well, what is your intentions? And with him, what's your bucket list? Her bucket list was a joint bank account and to get married and be normal. And I'm just like, wow. And it grants at 28, that's a bucket list. And it's like, it just goes to show you how lifestyles can change what you want in life. Because people ask me, what's your bucket list? I want to travel. Like, I want to, like, feed the dolphins and all that kind. That's a bucket list for me. I want to go out of the country. I want to see Thailand. Like, that's a bucket list. But a bucket list to be normal is eye-opening. So we're going to move on to Tyrice and Shonda. Lord, Lord, Lord. Oh, Cat Daddy. I'm going to show y'all the picture of old Cat Daddy, okay? So he picks her up because he realizes he's at the wrong location. He at the jailhouse instead of the bus station. So he's hauling ass to go pick her up and meet her. And he has clothes in the back for her. And he's like, I wanted to like have some time to get with her. When he said get with her, we know what that means. He wanted to get down and dirty. He wanted to lay it low and spread it wide. And they didn't have time because he had to leave from the jailhouse to the bus station, find her, change clothes, and, time's of the essence. So they go to a restaurant because she's like, I'm starving. I'm so hungry. I guess she hasn't eaten since she had breakfast at the halfway house. They don't tell you what time it is, so you never know. And she has on her sneakers and like her sweatpants and a little jacket. And they go to the restaurant. He gives her the bag to go and change her clothes. And her picture in her confessional looked totally different from her hair when she got out of jail. She had the side braids, she had the curls. I'm like, oh, that's a good curl line. Maybe she wasn't in a high max security prison. Maybe she was in like a low level where you could have a curling iron and get some good barrel curls, because some curls is everything. But she looks really different with her hair cut short. She looks like just a plain Polly Pocket in her confessional versus when she is fresh out. So they get to the restaurant and she's getting dessert because they have to cook the food. And she's like, I want something right now. I want dessert right now. I'm so hungry. So he says to the people, if we don't eat all this food, can we get a to-go plate? They're in a chicken joint. They're not at like no fancy restaurant. But even still, all restaurants you can take food to go except buffet places like Cat Daddy. But maybe he nervous. I'm going to leave him alone. Him in his blue pimp suit. And she was talking about how all the girls was looking at his pictures that he sent her. And the pictures he sent her versus the pictures from what he looked like now. I don't know how long ago that was, Cat Daddy. Because he got this wide blue suit looking like a Smurf. And these blue gator shoes. I said, Lord, Cat Daddy. And she was just saying, I want to be regular. Her parents were on drugs and in and out of jail. And that's all she knows. But she wants to try and do the right thing this time. But she feels kind of alone. Because she has nobody. And that's really sad. She said, but when you're inside jail, when you have people to write and people to continually talk to you, it helps your time go by faster. So the production asks, how many people were you talking to while you were in jail? And she says, about 8 or 9. And she looks to the side. And they said, well, were you or are you still talking to any of the guys from jail since meeting Tyrice and talking to Tyrice? And she's like, which is a clear indication of, yeah. She goes, yeah, but I still talk to them, but we're only friends. You just trying to make sure you got backup plans in case Cat Daddy don't work out. And here we go with old messy ass Christiana and John. He takes her mother out to brunch, lunch, something. And let me tell you something. Whatever food they was eating looked so good. I'm like, well, can I zoom in on the food? Because it was like gravy and a biscuit or some, I don't know where it was, but it looked amazing. And John is a little crazy because you're talking to her mother for the first time. Number one, you should have asked, what have you told your mother about me before you disclose all this information about yourself? Because maybe she didn't want to tell her mother that and give her a bad impression. So he's telling him, she's like, so, how'd you meet, blah, blah, blah. And he's just like, yeah, I've been married 4 times. And my last marriage was to my cousin's wife. I kind of took her and then we got married, but it didn't work out. Why do you, how about start with the good things, maybe, if there's some good things, and then go to the bad, or not even say the bad? Why would you? Then she says, "What's different about my daughter, dating my daughter, and it's gonna last because she hasn't been good with getting out, going to the halfway house. She always ends up back in. I haven't seen her in 3 years because of it." So he's like, "Well, I was an inmate and I have a very long record, so me and her have that in common." And she's like, "Something else. Like, you done said you'd been married to your cousin 4 times, you've been in and out of jail." And he said he goes into detail about what he went into jail for. She's not saying a word. She's eating her food and just staring at him. He said he would basically write checks for, his biggest check was for $30,000, and he would deposit it. And you know how some banks, when you go to the ATM, you deposit and it says the available amount is X, Y, and Z. They would give him his available amount instantly versus waiting to process it. And banks are getting burned all over the world. But he basically would cash it and then get the cash out and never pay it back. So he was in jail for a long time for that. Excuse me, I had a call come in. He's basically saying, I know where she has been, and I know how to, basically how to guide her from where she is to where I am so she can be regular and on the straight and narrow. And his mom is like, I don't think he's a good fit for her. Like, I had a dream of my daughter getting married with a nice guy and me walking her down the aisle, and it's just not looking good in her mother's eyes. And she's saying at the halfway house she stayed at before, she got into drugs, and it's just not a good look for her. So, we gonna see what happens with that one. And now we have Maurice and Jessica. Jessica is wearing me the fuck out. Like, Jessica, you are a white woman in Compton, ain't ever been to the hood. You don't. I've never been to the hood, so I don't know how to operate and how to act in certain situations, certain environments. So I kind of understand, but you can't act like it's disgusting. It's like, you just be regular and try to be who you are. And if you haven't been around that many black people, maybe that's the real problem. Then you have to figure this shit out, because she is just, yeah. But anyway, so they're going to a restaurant to eat. And I'm gonna show you the video because Maurice ain't seen a good looking girl in a long time, and the waitress has a lot of makeup on. She has lashes, and she has big boobs. So they sit down, and look at the video for a second. I'll show y'all. I'll give you a couple seconds to see what Maurice did. Yeah, see. So he looks at the girl, and she catches him, but he's a man. He been in jail for a while. He ain't seen a woman but you, and that's what it is. And then they're talking about how they don't want to be. He asked her, "Are you comfortable at my cousin's house?" She's like, "No." Basically, they're sleeping on a couch. I don't know if it's them or if it's just him. And they show all the kids running around and family around. So it's a small house, a lot of people in the house. And she's just like, I don't want to be any part of Compton. It's terrible there. I just don't want to. And she's just like, I don't want to. I don't want to. And it's just not my thing. I want to go back to Vegas where it's safe. Clearly, privileged lifestyle. And he's not. So that's what it is. And then so the waitress comes back over because she wanted to get a minute to eat, and he was like, I know what I want. She goes, can I get a minute? Like, oh, he's like, oh, okay. And she's like, well, I want to call your PO and ask for a supervisor to see what can be done. He's looking at her like, what? He's like, I done called the PO, his boss, the supervisor, the manager of the day, the manager on duty. It's not going to change. It's a process. And Jessica cannot get through that concept of a process. And it's just this privilege. It's a privilege that when you know that you think talking to a supervisor is going to get you out of anything. And he's like, that's not how it works. This is jail. Well, how do you know? I've called a supervisor before. Girl, a supervisor in jail? Stop it. Like, again, privilege. The supervisor. This ain't the 800 number 1-800-FLOWERS that I'm going to call, talk to your boss, give me 5% off. That's not how that works. But whatever. And then they leave, and he's like, well, F parole. And he's getting mad because she's trying to stress how she wants to go to Vegas. She wishes she can go to Vegas. She doesn't want to be in California anymore. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to show her that I'm about her and I'm for her. F parole, F the POs, F the jail. And this is if he goes back to jail, it's his third straight. He's doing his full bid. So, sorry, sentence, not bid. But so they start driving off, and he's like, no, go to Vegas. She's like, no, no, I don't want to go because I don't want you to get in trouble. I'm scared. I'm scared. And he's just like, no, you have to, like, let's go. And he's still, I'm like, this hood shit. This is the hood shit that allows black men to continually stay in jail and go back to jail, to continually say, I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to go where I want to go. Ain't nothing going to happen to me. Fool, it happened to you twice. He sounds so stupid. And if he thinks he sounded smart for TV, you look like an asshole. A complete and total asshole. Maurice, you're a complete and total asshole. If this girl really drives because you're making her, are you with me? Are you against me? Boy, but listen, when you with the other people, she likes this bad boy, black boy mentality, so she thinks she got a prize. But I mean, all right, whatever. And maybe he's saying it to see what she would do, number one. Number two, maybe he's saying it because he got the notification and he's just trying to mess with her mind. And she said, no, I'm not going to do it. She's scared. She's sweating and carrying on. And they're driving. Now, Vegas to Compton is 4 hours. So if your PO pops up and you ain't at the house and say, oh, I'm on my way back, he ain't waiting 4 hours. If he says, come to my office now, within the next hour, and you got to drive 3 hours, you can't even get on a plane that fast. So what are you talking about? I'm so frustrated. We're going to move on. Quaylon and Chevelle and her old stupid ass. So they leave the hotel, and she said, oh, I didn't think you was going to last all night because, it's the first time. But we saw how Quaylon got on his back and tooted his butt up real quick when they had, but we're going to stop. We're going to stop because maybe it was, but whatever. So they pull up, and her daughter and her mother come outside, and she runs up to him, and he has a little goldfish for her and a little teddy bear. She gives him a hug, and she's like, why you smell like that? And they're trying to bypass it. He's like, how you doing? Why you smell like that? The little girl might be 4, 5. Why you smell like that? Smack your daughter in the mouth. Like, don't ask no man no question like that. He fresh out. But she might got a point there because y'all came from the hotel, right? So you didn't take no shower? 1. 2, maybe it's the jail jacket that got this jail smell on it. I don't know. But that little girl needs to get popped in the mouth or get pushed to the side. And her mom is asking Quaylon, what is your plans for my daughter and my granddaughter? Lady, he's fresh out from doing 12 years. He don't know. He was in it when he was 17. He don't know what cell phone is. He don't know what life look like outside. He don't know what he qualifies for. He don't know nothing. Y'all can't ask this man. He can have plans, but what the real life looks for him, will look for him, may not be what's really gonna happen, because it's gonna be a hard time finding a job with a record, and you've been locked up for 12 years since you were 17 years old. 17 is when you start learning a little bit of stuff to grow up, but he's never had a job. He's like, what? He may do a fast food restaurant, maybe a grocery store, but he can't do much with his lack of experience. Maybe he has a hookup, a connection. Maybe Chevelle does. I don't know. And he's just like, I'm gonna take it day by day, but I just want to try to do the best that I can, and I want to have take my time because I want to see how it is being in a relationship 1-on-1, 24/7. A phone relationship for 2 years, they've been together, 3 years, excuse me, is not the same as living together, washing clothes, making breakfast, seeing what his expectations are. Like, he only knows routine and by somebody telling him. He doesn't know having a woman and a child in the house. Now, let me get back into this real quick before I forget. Chevelle, why you got this man why you have your daughter calling her daddy? Women who do that irritate the shit out of me. That's not their father. This is mommy's friend, Mr. Quaylon, or whatever he wants to be called, and we're dating, if how you want to explain it to her. That's not your father. Because guess what? If he goes back to jail for 17 years, if he decides this ain't his lifestyle that he want, if he decides you ain't what he want, then you have broken this little girl's heart who's called, where's my daddy? Where's my daddy? And he could be like, bump her. That ain't my daughter for real. Like, why would you do that? Why would you do that to a kid? So let's see what happens. And then she's like, well, in jail, he told me 6 months ago that he wanted to be married. Of course, most people want to get married, but you have to give him time. And this whole instant family thing is not gonna work out. But we're gonna see. Love After Lockup is something special. We already know it's hot messes, but we love to watch it, don't we? So that's all I got. Ain't got no more. I will harass and talk to y'all next week. I promise I'm gonna try to get to y'all on Monday after I can get my thoughts together and come to y'all with some substance. Talk to y'all later. Bye.